philanthropic.
Oh, okay. Now let's go there because that was my next one.
Yes.
What else are you doing outside of soccer and engineering?
Outside football, my wife and I founded an organization called Dwelling Places. It's an NGO registered in Uganda. Mm-hmm. It's a charity that looks after street-connected children.
Okay.
Abandoned babies, seeking to rescue them from the streets, rehabilitating them.
Yeah.
Reconciling them with known relatives or families, or even reintegrating them back into community.
Yes.
So transforming, there is, and I would relate this to the Bible. In the beginning, when God said that it's not good for man to be alone.
Yes.
We are not meant to be solitary individuals. We need each other to live. So for you to enjoy a party, there must be guests. And these guests cannot be animals. They must be people.
I hear you loud and clear.
For you to enjoy anything, you would like others to be there with you.
Be part of it. Mm-hmm.
So for you to be successful, or even to be the number one, you cannot compete alone. So in all things, we need people, and so that's why I believe that things that bring people together are very good and healthy for communities to grow. So we do support through Dwelling Places. We do support that, and it's one of my reasons of being in Minnesota. Mm-hmm. We will be having a concert.
Okay.
A Harmonies concert on this Saturday at the Destiny Hill Church.
Destiny Hill Church. Okay.
At 6 p.m. Mm-hmm. in order to try to mobilize people to support the work that we do back in Uganda.
Okay.
So I would like to invite, through you, to invite our viewers, our listeners, to support that honorable cause as well.
Wow.
Yes.
Our viewers, you are once again here on Tuwaye Media Network, and we are very, very privileged here to host one of my dear friends. We have good memories from way back in the 80s, and he is a national hero, to say but the least. Mr. Nkemba Williams is here with us in the studios in Egan, Minnesota, and we are very, very happy to have him. Today is a special day for us here at Tuwaye Media Network. Mr. Nkemba played for the national team, Uganda national team, for many years in the 90s. And I had the privilege and honor to play with him, to have played with him in Luzira, where we were in residential training in the 80s in the under-20 team. And so Mr. Nkemba is here with us, and I would like him to introduce himself and greet our viewers before we go into the program. Mr. Nkemba, you are very welcome here in Egan, Minnesota.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mutyaba, and good evening, viewers. I'm excited. I'm so glad to have had this opportunity, have been accorded this opportunity to come and share some of my life experiences. Like you've heard, my name is William Nkemba. I'm an engineer, currently doing consultancy work and serving as at the same time as the Chief Executive Officer of Sports Club Villa. I'm so glad to be here today to share my experiences in football, having met with Dr. Mutyaba many, many years ago. It's indeed a small world, but I'm so happy that I am able to share these moments today. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you very much for that introduction, Mr. Nkemba William. And as you have heard, he played for Uganda Cranes and is now the managing director.
CEO, the chief executive
The
officer.
chief executive officer of SC Villa. And the new Kawoya.
No, not really. Within the hierarchy, the structure has indeed changed at Sports Club Villa. Sports Club Villa is currently owned by a trust, the Villa Members Trust. And heading that is Honorable Gerard Sendaula. Then we have an executive committee headed by Haji Omar Ahmed Mandela. That then we have the management team, Sports Club for Sports Club Villa, which I do head, or the secretariat of all the organs of Sports Club Villa.
Wow, that's all good knowledge. I am a little behind, but I know that Sports Club Villa is an icon. Is one of the best teams that we had in Uganda. Sometimes the entire team was playing for Uganda Cranes, which also happened for KCC when I was young. Mr. Nkemba, can you take us a little back in the beginning of your career in soccer? How did that start?
Yeah, Doctor, indeed, meeting you and talking about those early days, actually they were the early formative years for my football. Took me back in memory. And so I asked myself, oh, really, this is a small world, having met yet again. And they said, how did it all start? Then my earliest traces go way back when I was a small kid in P1, P2. Whenever I would be asked to work hard at school, I would cut a deal with my dad that if I did well in school, he would buy me a ball. Wow. And I remember so I remember him doing that, and me also coming good on the challenge. He would buy me a ball, go down to the Aga Khan grounds, where we now do have the Aga Khan primary school. And I would just give the ball to the older boys, for them to play. And then for me, I would only be content with carrying the ball to the field and back home. But that's way back. My next memories, when I was at school, I studied at St. Mary's College, Kisubi, all through my secondary education. And I had my best friend had a brother in King's College, Budo, who was part of the youth team then. The youth team was, the team manager was Mr. Semanobe, one of the former presidents of FUFA. And I remember one holiday, I walking down to his offices on Ginger Road, he used to work in General Motors, and asking him to be allowed to be part of the youth team. Of course, little did I know that it follows summons. Somebody calls you up to the national team for you to be able to play. That day, my request was declined, but I walked all the way from Ginger Road, where we do have the traffic lights currently, and went to Lugogo on foot just to watch. And those were the early days. I remember I did not get the opportunity. The footballing schools then were Kololo, Chitante, Rubiri, Old Kampala, and so that's where most of the talent that used to play.
And I was
then.
at Old Kampala.
Yes, the Semazis were, Kayemba, and so these were, we would actually look at them and say, wow, if only we could also get the opportunity. But long story short, I joined Sports Club Villa in one of the holidays. I remember my mom telling me, but you know, you once, for you are an Express fan. My dad, when we were growing up, was an Express fan.
Oh, okay.
But
they were banned, so
yes.
So he probably moved over to Villa.
But then after Express was reinstated, of course, everybody was still Express. And then one day my mom happened to know the team manager of Sports Club Villa, Mr. Eriab Kamia. So one day home, she comes and tells me that if it were not that you are an Express fan, I would have taken you to Villa. I told her, no, let's go. And this followed, of course, a debate we had at school with late Richard Galabuzi. He used to play in KCCA.
He died.
And he passed on.
That's
Mr.'s
son.
He was, related to Mr.
Bidan Disali.
Yes, he was the son of Mr. Bidan Disali.
Wow.
We had an argument. He was a class lower than me. When at school, he had told me that, you know what, come the holiday, I'm going to play with KCCA. Then it was KCC. Today it's KCCA.
Okay.
I told him that can never happen. And that year, it was towards December, end of year, there was Uganda hosted the Eastern Central. So the Crane was in camp. He happened to, there was a friendly game between KCC and the Uganda Cranes in Nakivubo. It was in the morning. I happened to sneak my way into Nakivubo, and lo and behold, Galabuzi was playing.
Wow.
I got home so disheartened, and my mom asked me what the problem was. So I recounted my misery. She tells me, well, if it were not that you are supporting Express, I'll take you to the officials of Villa. I told her, without any hesitation, please just take me. Of course, that was now the seasonal break. Villa was not training, but as soon as they resumed training, she took me over to the team manager of Sports Club Villa, and that was when I started. That was in 1984.
84.
Now,
Wow.
while at Villa, training with them, of course, I was happy. I'm training with a big club, and these were the people that I would normally hear on radio.
On TV.
Radio, it was mainly radio.
Yeah.
They're the players who would play across the continent with other teams, so I felt like training with them was actually also empowering me. I was like playing with any player on the continent, and that's what I felt. But there I chanced that we were summoned, I think by virtue of being with Villa at that time. I was one of the people that were called into the youth team, the under 20. For us to be able to
And that's where I met you.
Yes. When you brought back those days, I remembered the people that were with Dr. Katamba,
Mayanja,
Jackson Mayanja, Majid Masisi, there was Luja, there was Mukalazi,
Aloro.
there was Aloro, and there was that very first
Bamturebe.
Bamturebe. I think I do remember, was it the goalkeeper, was he Biaruhanga? Yes, there was Biaruhanga. And so those memories came back. But also with those memories, when we started, I was lucky. I was nominated to be part of the team that went to play in Somalia, Mogadishu.
Yes.
And that was my first outing. My first time to board a plane, and my first time to play for even the national team.
Yeah.
Now, going to Somalia, just before we were about to depart, I remember I got malaria, but I still, soldiered
You really
on,
wanted to.
and because I was eager to go and play. We get to Mogadishu. My memories for that very
Your
first
first
match
international match.
was that my opponent really harassed me. I would say, because I think he gave me a very hard time and started developing cramps.
Your opponent now is that
that is the Somali.
The Somali.
The Somali. But nonetheless, we played and lost the game. But it was my first outing, and it's memorable. I still have those memories. Long story short, I continued training with Sports Club Villa, but still, I was before ever going for any trip or playing for Sports Club Villa outside Uganda. My next call up was at the national team, and this was in 86.
86. Mm-hmm.
86. So sometimes I say before I ever made any trip outside the borders of Uganda, I first made that with the national teams, the youth team and the Uganda Cranes. Okay. So it was many years of service at the national team. When I was summoned, when I started playing, my first time to play was in Ethiopia.
Okay.
We were playing in the Sekafa tournament, and we were losing semi-finalists. So my first game was against the playoff for the third position, and that's when I started. That time we were with the Kabugos. I earned my way onto the team after I think Kabugo developed a stiff neck, and there was an opportunity for me to play. Ever since then, I never looked back. I became a regular.
Okay.
Until when I bowed out of football because of any injury.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I was going to ask you about your fondest memories of, but it looks like you already told us. Tell us a little bit about. Then again, we came in touch when we met at Makerere University.
Yes.
We both stayed in Livingstone Hall, and I know we played together also for the university.
Yes.
Tell us how that could have. How did you mix engineering and soccer? How did that? Was it difficult? How could you be a national team player as well as an engineer? I know you're in the engineering school.
My life has been inspired by challenges that I make with my colleagues, friends, those that are around me. In St. Mary's College in Chisubi, there was one of our classmates, the late Isaac Mpoza. He used to work in the Ministry of Finance. He used to argue that it is not possible to play football
and at the same time,
and the word was shine. Okay, the shining was, be able to advance academically.
Yes.
And I told him it is. I remember arguing with him that this is very possible and it can be done. I got into boarding school when I was in P3, all the way until my senior 6.
Wow.
And in boarding school, there was always a time what would refer to as sports time, and this would begin at 4 p.m. and end at 6 p.m. when then you go take a shower and have dinner and then continue with your preps. So I thought 2 hours of playing football was the
totally
habit.
Nothing. Yeah.
It was the habit to me. So we get to campus, and campus was a little different. A campus, you control your time. Nobody supervises you, just like you are in primary school or secondary school. And it's really up to you the way you use your time. And so I knew that most of my lectures would happen in the morning. And in the afternoon we do laboratory work. But it's in the afternoon that I would then leave campus and
go and play
and train.
Now,
that would mean that I would miss out sometimes on the lab work, or just sometimes sneak out of the laboratory before the time is up. But it also meant to me that I had to work hard in the night. Most of my reading I would do
at night.
I'm very nocturnal. So I found it very easy to do the two. Now, the biggest challenge was it would be very difficult for me to read and comprehend what I am reading if I have not played.
Wow.
Because towards exams, when you bury yourself in books and you ask for time off from the training at Villa Park, it would always be very difficult for me to be able to understand what I am reading after missing the training. So what I would do, I would ask for time off, but then I would go to the North Court grounds. You remember the North Court grounds on the
right
lower side as you leave, as you
go to Boise.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I would go and train, sweat it out, and then I would I would be in shape for me to be able to do my reading through the night up to maybe 3 a.m. or 4 a.m.
Wow.
So that became the routine, and for me it was normal and viable.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of your friends or your age mates and players who are good, they moved on to go and play abroad. Do you have any feelings there that maybe you wish you would have done what they did to go and play for international teams, but you decided to stay in Uganda, of course? Any thought on that?
Oh yeah, I did have my attempt as well. In joining Sports Club Villa, the year I joined is the year that the late Majid Musisi also joined.
Yes.
So we were peers.
Yeah.
I was around the team. I was with the team when he made it to the professional ranks and joined Stade Rennais in France. So on completion of my studies at Makerere, I also attempted to go to France.
Oh, really?
And
okay, that's news.
I was,
I'm glad I asked.
Yeah, I was hosted by Majid Musisi. But at the same time in France, I had a friend who had visited us. Her husband was a diplomat. So I got an invitation to go down there. She was living she lives in Nantes. So I was given an opportunity to go and through her contacts, to go and do trials at Nantes FC. I did go to Nantes. It was spring, and it was very cold for me. Being in Nantes at that time, I'd never experienced that.
So that was right in the middle of winter?
No, it was spring.
Spring.
It was spring.
Okay.
It was, I think, about February, March. But it was cold.
Yeah.
For me, I couldn't withstand that. And I remember trying to get some cream to put on my body to keep myself warm, but it was not the kind of environment. So I did trials at Nantes. They were not successful. And that I would attribute mainly to the weather that I encountered. Then when that did not go through, Majid Musisi called me, well, you can come to Rennes where I am and we would see. Now, when I get to Rennes, in my senior 1 to senior 4, I did French. French was one of my best subjects. And so I could speak French.
Oh, really?
Majid wouldn't speak French. But whenever there were call-ups, while I was there, and there were call-ups for Majid to come over for the national team, and then he would work on his the tickets, the travel arrangements. I would be with him and
helping him with the language.
And helping him with the language on that. That did not go well with the coach of Stade Rennais, because he knew that he would be missing his star player. He was an icon still at the club, and I was taking him away for the time that he would be with the national team. So I made that attempt. So even with Stade Rennais, I did not have a successful trials. And time came, I came back to Uganda. We had...
How long did you spend?
I think I spent about 3 months.
3 months, okay.
3 months in...
Nantes.
2 months in Nantes and Rennes.
Okay.
So on coming back, of course, I continued with Sports Club Villa. And Coach Jeff Hudson, who coached us one time when he was with when we under the leadership of Mr. Patrick Kawoya, was that time coaching Orlando Pirates in South Africa. So he calls me for trials. He called me with another young man called Robert Mutyaba. Many of them remember Mutyaba for stopping Yekini when we were trying to break into the Africa Cup of Nations at that time.
And but what year was this now?
This was 90. We were getting into 90. I think 1990.
90. Okay.
91.
91.
91.
Yeah. Okay. I left in 91.
During one of the league games, I had gotten an injury, and sometimes would not having the adequate medical attention. You would think that it's a minor injury. I would get over this, and so I kept playing, thinking that was a minor injury. So in going to South Africa, I had that injury. And in as much as we trained, there was pain, but I could push on and think that it's not
Maybe
noticeable. But I think to the watching eyes, it was noticeable. So we didn't make it in Orlando Pirates together with Robert Mutyaba. We came back. The injury aggravated, and was later sent to Nairobi for surgery.
Oh,
but that actually ended my career. The recovery was not adequate, and it kind of like pushed me out. But that also coincided with my desire. After finishing my degree at Makerere, my engineering degree, I had given myself 2 years, that within 2 years, I'm going to choose between football or pursuing my
career in engineering.
And that marked about 2 years after having finished. So I then dived into the engineering trade, and that's what I've been doing ever since.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. That's Jemvu Day.
Yeah.
Uganda football in the 90s. What was it like compared to today? Is it, I know you are now in management and leadership. Is it about the same? Is it better? Is it, how would you compare? Were people making more money then? Are they making more now? Are they more likely to go international than in the 90s?
Many things have changed from the 90s to present day. A lot has changed. I think in the 90s, football was more competitive. There was less money. There was less exposure. But it was highly competitive. I do believe it was even more thrilling. It was more entertaining than it is today.
Oh.
The passion the players had was much higher than they do have today. Today, there is better facilities, better opportunities, a lot more exposure, which players do not exploit. So there is a disparity between what it was then and what it is
today.
Currently. Especially having been being a former footballer, active footballer. When you watch the game being played, you would reminisce, like I said, the glory days of football. Because you would find that players do not have the drive that there was those earlier days. I was part of the winning team. We would win virtually all games. We would break records finishing the league unbeaten or finishing the league with only 4 goals conceded. There were targets that we would set for ourselves as a team. But the other teams that we were playing against as well were very competitive. You would not go into a field thinking that we're just going to have a walkover. You would have to fight for the good result. And people would come because even the teams that we would contend against would also put up a good show. So it was very interesting, very unpredictable. and enjoyable for those that love
KCC
football.
was there to give you some challenge.
KCC was always a rival.
Yeah,
the main
that was
rival.
my team. I loved KCC.
And you would say that yellow and blue would never belong to the same spectrum of colors. So if they will tell you blue would be actually the opposite of yellow, or yellow would be the opposite of blue. So there was that rivalry, and the rivalry was on the field, but there was a lot of fraternizing off the field.
Oh, okay.
And it was an enjoyable atmosphere. I do not know whether we'll be able to relieve that because of the changes that have come. But of course, also there are other challenges that have set in for football. We have to position ourselves now to contend with a lot more entertainment options that are available to people for us to make our football attractive, enjoyable to the
Is
spectators.
rugby really a challenge to you now?
Rugby, yes, of course, it has its following and it has eaten away a number.
Some of your spectators.
There are other games as well, basketball. They would not thrive during our time. They were not heard of, and there was little mention of such games. But also the other forms of entertainment, drama, the music industry has also gone up. So there's a lot of entertainment that people can associate with that we are now competing with. And that's a challenge. It's a challenge to the administrators. It's also a challenge to the players themselves. We must brand ourselves to be the desired commodity.
I see. It's now a marketing thing. Right?
Sure.
Wow. Sure. What are your biggest challenges? I know now you transition from player to leader.
Yes.
What is it like? How much of a challenge is that managing a club like SC Villa? I mean, as you mentioned, it's an iconic club. It was very powerful when I was growing up. How has that leadership been for you? I mean, that's a big position. I remember Kawoya. Now you are the Kawoya.
No, not necessarily. I have my superiors, but it's a big challenge. A big challenge because of the legacy of Sports Club Villa. Villa still remains the biggest brand of football in Uganda, despite its performances. We were the defending champions. We lost that out this season. We have finished 6th. Okay. And that was not the performance that we did expect.
Yeah.
But
you would never be number 6.
Yes, we would never. It would never happen. In my playing days, it was either
number 1 or number 2.
Or number 2. And if number 2 would take the Uganda Cup, and it was that kind of things used to success all the time. The reality today is that it's a leadership challenge that Villa has suffered over a number of years. And this happened when boundaries were breached. I would say that boundaries on the jurisdiction of the administration, boundaries of the jurisdiction of what players can do, or jurisdiction of what the fans themselves can do in interacting with the club. I talked about the different structure that was set up. That was all because of trying to address those challenges, to be able to have the participation of everybody, but within known parameters or known confines, for them to be able to express themselves and enjoy being part of the Villa family. So these challenges are still real. They are still real because, yes, for the love and the passion that many would have, sometimes that zeal is over-exercised to the extent that they discourage or even disrupt administrative, I would say, programs or activities.
Yeah.
Because of the demands that they need. To build a strong team, to build a winning team, requires patience. Sometimes that patience is not exercised, and all they want is immediate results.
And money, I understand now that if the gate collections are not playing a big role now.
The crowds have calmed down. But I also do know that I transitioned after getting a knee injury. I transitioned into part of the administration of Sports Club Villa. So in part of the success years of Villa,
playing.
when I was not playing, I know about. I also know that gate collection alone cannot sustain a club. I got to know, especially if a club is enjoying continental exposure or excursions to the continent. Gate collections cannot at all. And now, of course, there is a lot more privileges, opportunities that can be tapped into, especially with corporate organizations coming in. Sponsorship, the marketing has to be explored a lot more. But it also goes with many other things that have to be put right for us to be able to tap into the full potential of what this can be. You look at the Ugandan League, you compare that with our neighbors, Tanzania, and you look at the amount of sponsorship that goes to clubs in Tanzania and the amount of sponsorship that goes to clubs within Uganda, and we are very far
Really
apart.
Okay.
So there is a lot that we indeed have to do as administrators, as people who love the game, and a lot of sacrifices that we do have to make as football lovers.
All right. Thank you very much for those words, Mr. Nkemba. Quick one here. How do you scout for talent? And how do you retain talent? Do you have good talent?
We do have good talent. We do have good talent, and there is a lot of talent in Uganda. First and foremost, there was the realization that there was a tendency to concentrate on scouting around Kampala. Uganda has many players spread across the country.
Oh, okay.
So the scouting of talent would requires people who are trained, who have an eye for talent.
And they have the time and
they do have the
facilitation.
Time. Yes, you facilitate them to be able to watch different games across the country, for them to be able to tap into talent. But there is also been an emergence and a sprouting of football academies, all seeking to
similar to what they have in France.
To nurture players.
Yeah.
But this is not fully coordinated.
Okay.
And the demands of what that entails. Some call themselves academies, but they are far from what they are. For as long as they organize a group of boys and they're under a leadership of coach so and so, they kind of belong to his or his academy. And that needs to be well managed for us to be able to get the good talent. And there is now a tendency to try, for commercial reasons, to own many of these players. Young as they may be, the earlier the better. But the earlier many of these players are scouted, the more expensive it is. So we really have to work hard on the system of talent identification across the country. I know that FUFA is trying to put in place programs, also send out scouts and put up centers of excellence in schools where they can actually be welcomed and nurtured, and both academically and also sportingly. But it is still a lot of work in progress.
All right. Yeah, thank you very much. Would you like a glass of water or something?
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, Mr. Nkemba here. It's such a wonderful thing to have him here in America. Briefly, what are the goals of Villa SC in terms of what are the goals and objectives? Maybe that's where we should have started. But just that briefly, I know maybe you're going to say you want to be the number one team as you have always been, but maybe there are other goals in terms of youth development, in terms of other things.
We look at certainly, like you mentioned, we purpose to be the number one footballing club on the continent.
On the okay.
On the continent, and not Uganda alone. Okay. But of course, charity begins at home. We look at being the club of preference for any player in Uganda.
The number one.
That any player would dream and desire
to play for
Sports Club Villa. And that means a lot that we have to put in place. We have to put in place an environment that will actually be able to promote the talent and exploit it to be able to make the players realize their full potential. We would look at one of the things that is dear to us is establishing a permanent home for the club, Sports Club Villa.
Where are you now? Are you still by?
We still are present at Villa Park. Because we
isn't there a new mall there?
There is, but Villa Park was affected by there was Kampala bypass, a kind of like there was a bypass that was built from Queensway to Mukwano roundabout.
Okay, yes.
And so that affected part of Villa Park.
Yes.
But we still have a team, one of our reserve teams that trains there.
Okay.
We have put the senior team away, and it trains from East High, somewhere in Tinda, mainly because still part of the branding of teams is when fans watch the
So you have two teams
every
now?
Day. We actually do have 3 teams.
Oh.
We also do have a junior team, an under-17 team. It's mandatory for every team in the Super League to have a junior team. So we also do have that. The other 2 teams train from East High, and we also do have a team that trains, a reserve team that trains.
And you promote from within.
But we would like to have a facility of our own, a home, a stadium, and the board of trustees of Sports Club Villa has been looking into exploring this, getting a suitable location, and then beginning on that project. It's one of the dear things that we would like to do and espouse. A stadium that will be also an addition to the sporting fraternity. Much as it will be a Sports Club Villa stadium, we would like it also to be shared with the community, because we believe that it's from the communities that we actually attract the potential players. And so look at a facility that will be able to embrace not only the club alone, but also the entire community.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Nkemba. And very quickly, what do you think FUFA and other stakeholders should focus on right now? What do you think FUFA should be focusing on the most?
That's quite a
loaded question.
Because there are a number of things that have to be done, I would say simultaneously, that need quick attention. But one of the things is we need to be able to attract. Because why I say it's quite broad. There are things that FIFA has to do for the quality of the game. There are things that FIFA has to do to market the game.
Which is
there are things that FIFA has to do to put in place structures that will stand the test of time.
Okay.
Today we do have a lot of footballing activity across the year in Uganda. Yes, you'll talk about Bika, Masaza football, you'll talk about the
school,
the drum tournament, which is kind of like, I would call it provincial. It's the various regions within Uganda. You have school football, you have the league, and there are many other tournaments that come by.
Is the European League, European football a big challenge there too?
Yeah, of course it still is, because it has many followers, But still we see that there are countries that also follow a lot of the European football.
And they still promote,
remain vibrant.
In their local leagues.
Yes, in their local league. And it's still very entertaining. So the quality of the game, I know FIFA has embarked on training many people, but ensuring quality and that those that actually have been trained get the opportunities as well to be able to practice what they have learned is key. There are things that need to be addressed in terms of the vices that sometimes corrupt football and discourage sponsors, they discourage fans and other well-intentioned people. So I would say it's a big discussion that we would have, and putting our heads together to agree on a way forward and not just rhetoric, whereby all parties now engage and move in one direction.
I see. Thank you very much on that. And another quick one here. What do you think that here, the people like me, like, us in the diaspora, what role should we be playing other than just watching and knowing the results? Can we participate? Can we be part of it?
Certainly. Certainly. Everybody in the diaspora, the lovers of football, and especially people like you who have been through it, need to give all the support that you can. It is not just watching and following from a distance. It is getting to know why the results are the way they are.
Yes.
And what can be done to improve. Being in the diaspora gives you the advantage of exposure, seeing the good things that others do. It's important to import the good attributes that we can assimilate within our own settings to apply them back in Uganda. So there is a lot that ideas, new innovations, new ways of doing things that can be used. And running support. There is need for a lot of equipment. There is need for one of the challenges Uganda has today. And when you're talking about what can be done for football, one of the challenges is footballing infrastructure, playgrounds. They are not as many as they were at our time.
Yeah, that's due to the population.
The population has grown. Schools have done away with their playgrounds. So it is not that easy, just like it was previously. So one needs to we need to create better infrastructure that is highly competitive. Good surfaces that where players can play. Mm-hmm. First of all, numerous or number of playgrounds with very good surfaces. Many of the fields in Uganda are bumpy, but even the number have also been decimated. Yeah. Schools have put up buildings where playgrounds used to be. And you'll find that the main area where one would tap players would be schools, because that's where the youth would be found. But yet then these facilities are not available. Now, lending a hand, promoting efforts that can actually enhance the creation of talent back home. I think the diaspora can lend a hand. And there are many ways. Equipment. You cannot play football without a ball. Let there be balls for every child to be able to practice their skills, and so many things that the diaspora can do to be able to help the beautiful game yet again. Yes.
And if they invest in that, is there a way that they can benefit from it? But also growing having that feeling that you contributed to the promotion of soccer, a game that everybody loves around the world. That is it's a great feeling of that contribution. But also maybe there could be results that could be financial in nature.
The financial, first of all, there is, for people who've gone through football, I for one, for instance, I would say that I continue in football because of my passion and love for the game.
Yes.
And also because of the various platforms having associated with football, the various platforms, football has opened up a number of doors for myself. I feel an obligation. I have a social responsibility to give back to football.
Okay.
And
to whom so much is given.
So much is required. But also at the same time, yes, opportunities for investing in football are there. Just like one would say, Africa's development lags behind the development of the Western world. So there are investment opportunities in Africa.
Yeah.
Likewise, even in sports, there are investment opportunities.
Yes.
We are so much more or less a green field where somebody could come and invest.
Tap into that.
And so these are the opportunities that the diaspora can look into.
Wow. Okay. That's good. Viewers, listeners, hey, there's a way you can contribute. Those who live here in the diaspora, please listen to Mr. Nkemba here. Mr. Nkemba, how do you stay motivated, mentally grounded in such a demanding role? I know that, you have all these other things that you work on in your engineering field, but you still have to manage a big club like SC Villa.
Like I mentioned,
you said something about that.
About giving back.
Mm-hmm.
In much of, I believe in giving back to people, giving back to. When I reflect on the sacrifices people like the late Patrick Kawoya made, your KCC person,
Mr.
Bidandi Sali, the late engineer Jackie Bali. It was a fraternity.
Yes.
Okay. And they all contributed. They were cordial when you would meet them, and they were friendly. And that is a village, let me call it a footballing village, nurturing a talent.
Yeah.
They may have belonged to different clubs, but they were all one in bringing up that child. It's an African belief that a child is raised by a village, not by just a home.
Yes.
So I feel the obligation that whenever my services are required or needed or can be used in football, I would give of myself for the sake of those who are upcoming, so that I do not deny them the opportunity which I can give today that I was given by somebody I did not know. So that is the motivation. That is the motivation. Giving back and helping others so that they can come, they can sprout, they can blossom, they can star in their various disciplines. It gives you a sense of satisfaction, and that is how society promotes itself and carries on from one generation
To the other.
to the other.
And
But-
you mentioned Mr. Jack Ibali there and Mr. Bidan, and I remembered Mr. Gideon Karioko. I don't know if you knew him.
Yes, I do.
He was really nice to me.
You see. So now, for the support that such gentlemen gave you, you are not related in any way.
No.
You came from wherever you came and you met them.
Yeah.
So we have an obligation also to give to.
Yeah.
to
He would
others.
get a $50,000 and 50 grand and give it to you.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, those guys really love the game.
And I would say I do believe in helping people, mankind, being philanthropic.
Oh, okay.
Because-
Now let's go there because that was my next one.
Yes.
What else are you doing outside of soccer and engineering?
Outside football, my wife and I founded an organization called Dwelling Places. It's an NGO registered in Uganda. It's a charity that looks after street-connected children.
Okay.
Abandoned babies, seeking to rescue them from the streets, rehabilitating them,
Yeah.
reconciling them with known relatives or families, or even reintegrating them back into community.
Yes.
So transforming, there is, and I would relate this to the Bible. In the beginning, when God said that it's not good for man to be alone.
Yes.
We are not meant to be solitary individuals. We need each other to live. So for you to enjoy a party, there must be guests. And these guests cannot be animals. They must be people.
I
For you
hear
to
you
enjoy.
loud and clear.
For you to enjoy anything, you would like others to be there with
Be
you.
part of it.
So for you to be successful or even to be the number one, you cannot compete alone. So in all things,
that's true.
we need people, and so that's why I believe that things that bring people together are very good and healthy for communities to grow. So we do support through Dwelling Places. We do support that, and it's one of my reasons of being in Minnesota. We will be having a concert,
Okay.
a Harmonies concert on this Saturday at the Destiny Hill Church.
Destiny Hill Church. Okay.
At 6 p.m. In order to try to mobilize people to support the work that we do back in Uganda.
Okay.
So I would like to invite, through you, to invite our viewers, our listeners,
Yeah.
to support that honorable cause as well.
Wow.
Yes.
That's great. That's that philanthropic work, helping people in need is yeah. And I know you from your from way back that you are always a godly person, and I've seen you with the Bible from long time ago. And everything you're saying is very consistent with that lifestyle you started way back. And we thank God for getting you here and also being able to promote and help those kids in need in Uganda. Our viewers, what's the address and what time is this function going to be?
This is going to be at 6 p.m. on Saturday.
6 p.m.
21st, yes, 21st June, and it will be at Destiny Hill Church.
Destiny Hill Church in
that's Minnetonka.
Minnetonka. Oh, right. Okay, right there by Mr. Bond.
I do not know this place that much, but I think I've picked some of these locations. Yeah.
All right. Mr. Nkemba, once again, we are almost at the hour, and I want to ask you to give us, a final word. Us in the diaspora, how we can be part of all these things, initiatives that you have, whether it's soccer, whether it's your philanthropic work.
Being in the diaspora, but with roots
in
back
Uganda.
in Uganda.
Yes.
I would urge you to remain connected to those roots, not to watch from afar the events as they unfold.
Yes.
But to be part of the change that you would like to see in our country.
Yeah.
The change regarding sports, because for me that is my
area of
my area.
Mm-hmm.
The helpless, the people that need your support.
Yes.
And there are quite a number of such people.
Yeah.
Let us not look at our country as a country that you came from and wouldn't return to, but a country that you actually are building, even though from a distance.
Yeah.
A country that will make you proud. A country that whenever it is mentioned, you would not be shy to stand up to be counted. Let us support the noble causes in our country, in terms of boosting sports, in terms of helping the vulnerable children, especially. And what good we see elsewhere or even here, let us also try to emulate back home.
All right.
Because then we'll create an atmosphere that even those at home can enjoy or live in conditions that you actually also experience elsewhere.
Okay, that's wonderful. One thing I wanted to probably mention to you in regards to your non-profit ventures.
Yes.
Here in America, they have what they call 501c3.
Yes.
In order to be able to, people actually give money, but they usually get a benefit, a tax benefit. So, are you planning, or is that something that you have already done to request for that 501c3, or have a sister company, sister organization in America that would help with that?
We have been working with, as Dwelling Places, we've been working with Life Change International, based in Denver. But that organization has kind of like is winding down. And so we have stepped up efforts to register our own charity here, the 501c3 here in Minnesota, based in Minnesota. And this is work that we have started on, and we are progressing. We do hope that in the very near future we'll have this all set up, so that, yes, we are aware of the tax benefits that those that give, those that donate to charitable causes and be able to have. So we are working on that. It's not yet registered, but it will be done soon, and this will be thrown on our website, and for people to be able to use that.
Okay. And what's the website?
The website is www.dwellingplaces.org.
All right. Dwellingplaces.org. Ladies and gentlemen, that has been a presentation of Mr. William Nkemba. As you have heard, he is into philanthropic work and is working on non-profit initiatives to help the vulnerable in Uganda. And we thank you for that spirit. Sebo, Tumira.
Of course, nja kusooka kutumira mukyala wange Rita Nkemba. We traveled together, and she will continue with more work of the dwelling places when I get back home. Nti mwagala nnyo, I thank her for the support. Ntumira abaana baffe, kusooka nja kutumira mutabani wange ali wano, Timothy Nkemba. Yebale kusoma na butatuswaza. Mwala waffe
oyo yafunye masters
degree. Mwala waffe Violet Nkemba ali Kaire eyo kakati. Awamu ne abaana baffe tulina ezzadde ddene. We have a village of children. Ntumira abakozi aba dwelling places nti mwebale omulimu gwe mukola. Temugwa mu maanyi, kye mukola nkiyite nga bagamba nti kya ddala. Awamu ne baganda bange bonna mbatumidde, Mukama abawe nnyo omukisa mu byonna bye mukola.
All right. Mr. Nkemba, tusanyuse nnyo okubeera wano naawe olunaku olwaleero luno nga 17 omwezi ogw'omukaaga wano nga
20 today, okay, yes.
Era abatuuliza tubasiibudde, era nga tusanyuse nnyo nga bulijjo. Mukulu Nkemba, Robert Semakula, oba owuliriza ojja kumulaba muno ali wano Australia gy'oli, n'abalala ndooza abagazi b'omupiira mwenna, azze n'atubuuzaako, era byonna tubiwulidde, byonna byakola, byonna nga gyebiri. Ndooza kyekigambo nga bwakikozesezza, gyebiri, nga okuyamba abaana abateesobola, nga ayita mu bibiina byatugambyeko wano, era n'emitimbagano ndooza mugiwulidde. Era tubasaba abasobola muweeyo nga bwe musobola, ekyo nakyo kibeere nga tukigusa. Kale Sebo, weebale nnyo, weebalire ddala, tukwebaza okuba nti nno obadde wano naffe olunaku olwaleero. Mukama akwongere emikisa. All right.